pre-algebra students. We are here with a PowerPoint and video review of chapters 1 through 5. Now what you're looking at right now is the chapter 4 and 5 review, which I am putting on first because I think that some of you who are still having some issues with chapter 5 will find it beneficial to have just a little bit more instruction on chapter 5 concepts. So I'm putting this one on first, and then I will go back and make a video for chapters 1 through 3 review. Next Wednesday, the 13th of April, you will have a big test. Everybody will take the test, and it will be chapters 1 through 5 as a wrap-up review over the material we have done so far. Then we will proceed after Easter to start our chapter 6 pretest. So that's kind of an overview of what's happening right now. Let's get to these questions that are covering chapter 4 and 5 review. Okay, the first one we're looking at is question 31 of 50. So there's 50 in this whole review. And basically what I did is I took 2 questions from 5.1, 2 from 5.2, 2 from 5.3. Now, when you take the test next Wednesday, it will only have 1 question on 5.1, 1 question on 5.2, etc. So as your review is 50 problems, your actual test will be 25 problems. And you will have no problem doing the test in the time allotted. As you will see, these are not difficult problems, and you will only have 25 instead of 50. But it will be a thorough review of the material that we have had up till now in this little Aleks review I've been doing with you. So, question 31. Fill in the blanks below. The temperature was 11 degrees below zero today. Write a signed number to represent this temperature. Okay, so let me get a pen. Remember, below zero would be negative, so we'll put negative 11. A hibernating animal lost 8 pounds. Write a signed number to represent this weight change. The weight change is down, so we would put negative 8. Question 32 of 50. Evaluate the following. Absolute value of 13. Well, 13 is already positive, and we know the absolute value is the distance of a number from 0. So the absolute value of 13 would be 13. Also, the absolute value of negative 13, just as an aside here, would also be 13, because there are 13 steps from 13 to 0, and there's 13 steps from negative 13 to 0. So your absolute value will always be positive. Whatever's inside will be made positive. So the absolute value of negative 9 is a positive 9. There are 9 steps from 0 to negative 9. For each scenario, choose the best statement. A roller coaster goes up 25 feet and then down 35 feet. The roller coaster is above its initial height. The roller coaster is below its initial height. The roller coaster is 0 feet from its initial height. Okay, so if it goes up 25 and then goes down 35, then from the start of the word problem here, it is 10 feet down below. Therefore, it is below, so we would color that one in. It is below its initial height. The temperature drops 3 degrees Fahrenheit and then rises 7 degrees Fahrenheit. It has a cumulative 4-degree rise, doesn't it? It drops and then it rises more. So it is higher than its original. And then you spend $16 and then you are paid $16. So paid means you're getting it. Spending means you're losing it. It's the same amount both ways. So you have an overall change in money of 0. Number 34. Add. Now, remember, add. We have a positive sign here. We have two unlike signs. Opposite signs subtract the absolute values of the two numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. Opposite signs subtract. Take the sign of the bigger guy. So 4 is bigger than 3. 4 is positive. So although you don't have to put a positive, I'm going to put it there just so you can know it for sure. And then here we're adding two like signs, both negative. So same sign, add. So we're going to add 6 and 5 is 11. And take the common sign, which is negative. 35. Subtract. Now, we can do it with the subtraction sign. 1 take away 3 is a negative 2. Or, and I recommend this for those of you that are struggling, 1, we change the subtraction to addition of the opposite, which means we just attach the negative sign that is between the two numbers to the number on the back. So 1 plus a negative 3 is the same as 1 minus 3. Opposite sign, subtract. 3 minus 1 is 2. Take the sign of the bigger guy, which is negative 3, and we are done. So now I'm going to take this negative 3 minus 4, and we're going to change that to addition of the opposite. So we're going to attach the minus sign to the number before. And notice that now I'm talking about addition, so I can use my two rules. This is addition of same sign, add. 4 plus 3 is 7. Take the sign, the common sign, which is negative. Same sign, add. Take the common sign, negative 7. Negative 2 are our answers. Question 36 of 50. Find the distance between I and J on the number line below. A distance is a subtraction. So negative 9 minus a negative 3. Now, I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which way we write it. Negative 3 minus a negative 9. Okay, so negative 3 minus a negative 9, negative 9 minus a negative 3. And the reason that it doesn't matter which way we do it is because distance is always the absolute value. Okay, distance is always the absolute value. So let's look at both of those. It doesn't matter which way we do it because distance is the absolute value. So when we're subtracting, we change to addition of the opposite. Now, we always do what's inside the absolute value signs before we take the value of the absolute value. So we have a negative 3. We're adding opposite signs, so we really subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. We take the sign of the big guy, which is the negative 9. And then we will evaluate. What is the distance of negative 6 to 0? That is 6 steps. Okay, so then we do it the other way. And negative 3, addition of the opposite. Change your subtraction to addition of the opposite. Now we have addition of opposite signs. So we subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. Take the sign of the big guy, which is 9. Now the absolute value of positive 6 is also 6. So the answer is 6. Okay, so just remember to always think absolute value when you are finding a distance between two numbers on the number line. Okay, question 37. We're multiplying -4 times -1 times 3. They're all 3 multiplied together. Remember, these parentheses indicate multiplication. So -4 times -1 is +4. And +4 times 3 is 12. Okay. Question 38. Answer the questions below. Note that a change can be an increase or a decrease. For an increase, use a positive number. For a decrease, use a negative number. Gina owns 48 shares of a certain stock. Yesterday, the value of each share went up by $8. What was the total change in value of her shares? Okay, so she starts with 48 shares of a certain stock. Yesterday, the value of each share went up by $8. Okay, so each share, she's got 48 of them, and each one went up by $8. What was the total change in value of her shares? Okay, so since each one goes up, but she has 48, wouldn't that be multiplication? Okay, so we're going to take 48 times 8. And 8 times 8 is 64. Carry your 6. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 6 is 38. And it was an up, right? It was an increase. So we're going to say she had an increase of $384. That was nice, right? A private club was reduced by 28 members in 4 weeks. Its size changed by the same number of members each week. What was the change in the club's size each week? So, number one, it's going down. So we know that the change is negative. Okay, 28 members in 4 weeks would mean that it's going down 28 divided by 4, or 7 each week. So, -7 reflects the change in the club size each week. Okay, number 39. Write an ordered pair for the location of the post office. Okay, the post office is right here. We're going to write an ordered pair, which means, let me see if I can get a little bigger here so that you can see. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 steps over. So we'll put a 4, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps up. Remember, in an ordered pair, the x coordinate is always the left right, which in this case we just have right, and it's going right 4, and then up 8. The y coordinate is always the up down motion. Get this back to the right side. So the answer is 4, 8. Okay, use the pencil, plot the point 3, 0. Well, 3, 0 is 3 steps to the right, and 0 means it's right on the axis. Remember, this is the x-axis, and this one up here is the y-axis. So if you were asked which quadrant that is in, you would say it's not on a quadrant. It is on the x-axis. Number 41. Use the distributive property to remove the parentheses. Now, very often when we use the distributive property, we have the -4 over here instead of back there. It really does not matter at all. We can distribute either way. So we're going to multiply that, Multiply that just like we would if the -4 is in the front. It makes no difference. If you feel more comfortable, though, you can change it around to the front and erase it from back here, whatever makes you happy. -4 times 1 is -4. -2v times -4. Negative times negative is a positive 8v. And a y times a -4 is a -4y. Question 42. Rachel had K dollars to begin with. She just spent $21. Using K, write an expression for the number of dollars she has left. Okay, she started with K, and then she spent $21. Spending money is a reduction in how much you have, so we'll use a -21. Using K, write an expression for the number of dollars she has left. She has K minus $21 left. Solve for B. Simplify your answer as much as possible. Now you know that I require you to show your work. So I'm going to bring this over here. 10B is equal to 18. So our process is to get the B by itself. We're going to divide by 10. 10 and B are joined by multiplication. Therefore, to get rid of the 10, I divide it out. But I must do it on both sides. So this one cancels, and I end it with B equals 18 divided by 10. Remember, dividing by 10 is just moving the decimal 1 to the left. So the answer is 1.8. Now that, you don't have to show me your actual division because you're using the rule that dividing by 10 takes this decimal and moves it one place over. Question 44, solve for y. Again, you're going to show me your work. We want to get the y by itself. Y is joined to 9 by addition. Therefore, to get rid of the 9, we will subtract. 9 minus 9 goes out. We're left with y equals. Now, we are adding these two negative numbers. Same sign add. Take the common sign. They are both going in the negative direction. Oops, I think I went past one. Okay, question 45. Solve for y. Right now, to solve for y first, we're going to have to get the parenthesis out of there. Now, there's two ways to do this. I'm going to work this problem both ways. We could start by distribution and end up with 9u plus 3 times 5 is 15 equals 78. Okay, now here's our variable, there's our u. We're trying to get that by itself. First, we will subtract the 15 because getting the variable term by itself is the first important thing. So 9u, the 15s cancel, equals 78 minus 15, 8 minus 5 is 3, 7 minus 1 is 6. Now we're going to divide by 9 to get the u by itself, divide by 9 on the other side, and u equals 7. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other way. And this is the way that I would do it, simply because I like smaller numbers. Now, remember our 3 rule. This side, we can see right now that this side will divide evenly by 3. Guess what? 78 also divides evenly by 3, and we know that because our divisibility rule for 3 tells us that if we can add the digits together, 7 plus 8 is 15, we can add the digits together and that number, 15, is divisible by 3, then so is 78. So I would start this way of doing it by dividing both sides by 3. So let me get rid of this. In other words, I'm keeping my parenthesis intact until the second part. So I divide by 3 and divide by 3 because I see that 78 divides by 3, and that will make it so that I don't have such big numbers. Okay, so I'm going to cancel the 3 and the 3, and then 78 divided by 3. Let's do that real quickly. 78 divided by 3. 3 goes into 7 twice. 6, 18, 6. Okay, so now I've got the problem 3u plus 5 equals 26. Okay, I divided both sides by 3 as a first step. So now let's see if we get the same answer we did before. Take away 5 to get the 3u by itself. Take away 5 over here. 3u. Cancel. 26 minus 5 is 21. And I'm out of room here, I think. Well, let's see if it'll let me do it. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and u is equal to 7. Which is exactly what I got before. I just did the problem differently. Question 46. Solve for y. Okay, so we have a negative y, which we don't want a negative y. At the very end of this problem, we will multiply both sides by a negative 1. But let's don't worry about this right now. Let's go ahead and get this 132 out of there. So minus 132, and on the other side, minus 132. Okay, so now I'm going to bring down the negative y, and this is going to cancel. And so 279, since I don't have those nicely lined up, let's just bring our subtraction over here, because I always like you to show me your work. 9 minus 2 is 7. 7, take away 3 is 4. 2, take away 1 is 1. Okay, so negative y is 147. So now I don't want negative y, I want y. So I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 1, which changes both signs. And y is equal to negative 147. And I'm just going to take that off of there. Okay? So on second thought, that might confuse you coming back to it. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. Y equals negative 147. That way this one stays there and you can see the work. All right, so question 47. For each value of w, determine whether it is a solution of 9 is less than w. All right, now 9 is less than w would work. However, 9 is less than w has the w on the right, which is less than ideal. So I'm going to switch it around. W is greater than 9. W is greater than 9. Okay, they're both equivalent, aren't they? They mean the same thing. So, is 5 greater than 9? No. Is 3 greater than 9? No. Is 13 greater than 9? Yes. Is 7 greater than 9? No. For each value of y, determine whether it is a solution to 52 is greater than negative 7y plus 3. Okay, so 52 is greater than negative 7y plus 3. Now, I could go through and plug that in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation. This is an inequality, not an equation. I'm going to go ahead and solve it, and then it will be very clear to me which ones are the solution. So in order to get the y by itself, I will subtract a 3, and I will subtract a 3. So now I have 52 minus 3 is 49 is greater than negative 7y, and these cancel. So now I'm going to flip the whole thing around in the mirror because I like my y on the left. So I'm going to have a negative 7y, and when I flip it around, this sign has to flip around, is less than 49. I don't know why, but my brain just works better when my y is on the left. And so that's one of the first things I like to do. Now we're going to divide by a negative 7, and we're going to divide by a negative 7 to get the y by itself. But as soon as I divide by a negative, what do I do with my sign? My inequality sign must flip to keep the inequality true. So now negative 7 divided by negative 7 is a y. And now, instead of less than, we're going to flip that around to a greater than. And 49 divided by a negative 7, remember 7 times 7 is 49, so it's going to be a negative 7 because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So y is greater than negative 7, which gives you a 6. Is 6 greater than a negative 7? Yes. Is a negative 8? No, negative 8 is less than a negative 7. Is a negative 7 greater than a negative 7? No, it's not. They did not have a greater than equal to. We have to say no. Negative 7 is not greater than negative 7. Is 2 greater than negative 7? Yes, because it's positive. Okay, so we have... Now, I'm going to insert a little slide here, if I can do that. And I want to just do a very quick explanation for you. Let's say here 6 is greater than 3. Would you agree that 6 is greater than 3? Okay, when we draw a number line, here is 6. I should have gotten rid of this, but I didn't. So, okay. Here is 6. Here's 0. Here's 3. And 6 is greater than 3 because it's farther to the right. Remember, on a number line, farther to the right means greater. So 6 is greater than 3, and you can see that. Now, we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by a negative 1. So if I multiply by a negative 1, and I multiply over here by a negative 1, then I'm going to get negative 6 and negative 3. Okay, and negative 6, remember, is way over here. And negative 3 is right there. But if I put the greater than sign there, is negative 6 greater? It's farther to the left, isn't it? It's farther to the left. So negative 6 is not greater than. Negative 6, where's our little eraser? Negative 6 is less than negative 3 because it is further to the left than negative 3 on the number line. So I just wanted to show you an example of why we always must flip the sign when we multiply or divide by a negative. Question 49. The first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence are as follows: 33, 25, 17. Okay, what is happening each time? Now, The arithmetic sequence is an adding and subtracting sequence. Okay, so we're just adding, in this case, subtracting the same thing as we go down. So what is the difference between 33 and 25? I am subtracting 12. And then I subtract, so that's a minus 12 difference between the two. And then I'm going to subtract a minus 12 again, and 25 take away 12. Let's see. Well, I'm glad that I caught myself in that mistake. Okay, 33 take away 25 is not 12. Let's do it out the long way so that we can see that, okay? So we've got 3 take away 5 doesn't work, so we must borrow. And I got to where I saw the second one, I'm going, that's not true. 13 take away 5 is 8, and 2 take away 2 cancels. So it's a minus 8 that we're doing. Glad I caught that. 25 minus 8 is 17. Okay, so now to find the next term, we're going to minus 8 again. And 17 minus 8 is 9. And 9 minus 8 is 1. Okay, so hopefully you caught my mistake before I did. Okay, subtracting is minus 8, minus 8, minus 8. And question 50. We have an input and an output chart. Below is the table of values of a function. Write the input when the output is in. Write the output when the input is in. So here, let's look for a pattern. 1, 6, 7, 12, 8, 13. It looks like it's a plus 5. Let's see if that's consistent. 7 plus 5 is 12. Yes. 8 plus 5 is 13. So we would put n plus 5 as the output. If the input is in, we would add 5 to it to get the output. So n plus 5 is the answer. So I hope that this has helped you. And I hope that those of you that are struggling with chapter 5 right now will use this little review to help you. And this is Mrs. A, and may God bless your day.